This week, I'm giving a shout out to Claire and Gil, who worked with me a couple of years ago. Claire told me last week, Alejandra, we have a rock solid marriage now that we have learned to communicate our love to each other. Oh, that just melted my heart.
I don't like to argue, so I say nothing and fume for days.
How do I set boundaries without sounding like a jerk?
I hate the idea that I might accidentally offend somebody, so sometimes I'd just rather say nothing at all.
Welcome to the Language Alchemy Podcast, and thank you for joining me today. This is your host, Alejandra Siroka, a transformative communication teacher and coach who's devoted to helping multicultural individuals and couples engaged in personal growth transform their lives and relationships through conscious communication. Happy Valentine's Day. And if your response is, "Oh, it's such a commercial holiday, Alejandra, why mention it?" Great question. I believe that Valentine's Day and any other holiday that are about celebrating love and the commitment to love are worth celebrating. Especially during these times when there's so much suffering with our human family because of wars and the political divisiveness in so many countries. We need to be able to hold the inclusive and multidimensional perspective that while there is pain, anguish, and sadness, there's also beauty, joy, and love in our lives. You and I both, we are needed right now as messengers of the love and the peace that is possible for our lives, our relationships, and our communities, especially when things are hard. So that's why I'm wishing you a happy Valentine's Day, a day in which you can consciously express your love to the important people in your life. For this episode, my plan was to talk about how to apologize consciously when we hurt another precious human being. But I'm going to leave that for next week. Instead, today I want to give you 6 things to talk about if you take your beloved on a date to celebrate Valentine's Day, or 6 things that you can include in your communication if you want to bring love to the forefront of a close relationship, such as a relationship with a dear friend, a child, a family member. And before I give you these 6 things that can reignite your love for the people who live in that special place in your heart, I have a beautiful request. If you find this episode useful or inspiring, as soon as you finish listening to it, take 1 minute to leave me a 5-star rating and a 1-sentence review about what you find meaningful about the podcast. The podcast is my gift of love to you, and I would actually feel so loved when you leave me a 5-star rating or a 1-sentence review on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you're listening to this episode. When couples have been together for a long time, they often tell me in our communication coaching sessions that they find it hard to ignite the spark that was there when they first met, or when they got married, or when they had a child. Sometimes they tell me they feel disconnected, that the relationship has become superficial, and they'd like to find a way to connect again in a deeper way. The same goes for parents of adult children when they share with me that when their children were little, it was so easy to feel love for them. And now that they're an adult, they feel a lack of connection and they would like to work on that. When I coach couples and parents who would like to come back to intimate and meaningful connection, I teach them to do 6 things I suggest you do on your Valentine's date or celebration or in your everyday life. The first thing is to express positive acknowledgement. Spend about 5 or 10 minutes only talking about the wonderful things that are present in the relationship. So, for example, if your partner makes breakfast every day or cooks the meals or goes to the doctor with you or is really kind with your family, spend 5 or 10 minutes telling your partner how wonderful it is for you to have someone in your life who does these things for the two of you or for your family. It may sound like this. It's so wonderful that you make breakfast every morning. It's amazing to wake up to the smell of coffee and know I'm going to have a great start to my day. Or you may say something like, I experience your cooking as such a loving thing. I don't like to cook. If it were up to me, we would probably be eating the same thing every day. But you make these wonderful dishes that keep us nourished. Or you could say something like, knowing I can count on you when I go to the doctor is so wonderful because, as you know, I get anxious during doctor's appointments and I forget half of what they tell me. But with you there, I can relax more and know that you will help me take care of my health. Or maybe you say something like, it is amazing how kind you are with my family, especially when they can be so challenging at times. And I know they have very different political views from us. It's such a relief to know that when you get together with my family, I know we'll be able to have a harmonious time. As you acknowledge the positive things that are present in the relationship, don't just mention what is positive or wonderful. Tell the other person why it is so. Maybe you need to rewind and listen to the examples I just gave you, in which there wasn't just acknowledgement of the positive things that the other person does, but also an explanation of why it is wonderful to the person communicating the positive acknowledgement that their partner, their child, their friend does these positive things. So now that you've heard these positive acknowledgement examples, take a moment right now and think of at least 3 positive things that are present in your relationship with a person with whom you'd like to celebrate Valentine's Day or with someone you'd like to have a deeper sense of connection. If you need to hit pause, do that to think of at least 3 positive things that are present in your relationship. And then come back to the episode because I have 5 more tips for you. The second thing you can use is to use a unique term of endearment. If you don't have a term of endearment, this is the perfect time to create one. You can use terms of endearment such as sweetheart, honey, babe, love, of course. And so many people are called by those names. What I suggest here is that you get creative and increase a sense of intimacy. In my sessions, I've heard couples call each other bird, butterfly, bear, sweet bee. And now that I'm thinking of this, they all start with the letter B. Of course, you don't have to. When you use a unique term of endearment to address the person you love, this term lets them know that you have a special relationship with them because it's a term just between the two of you and nobody else. It's very connecting and intimate. So try it. Number 3, express gratitude. If you want to reignite the love in your relationship or keep a relationship loving, then it's so important that you express gratitude as often as possible, and especially around significant dates, whether it's Valentine's Day, a birthday, anniversary, or after a big event. If you incorporate gratitude every day, you will notice how this simple act decreases arguments and tension between the two of you. Now, you may think that this is like number 1, expressing positive acknowledgement. I would say it's similar, but it's different. The expression of gratitude connotes greater affection and warmth. You're using important words such as thank you, I'm grateful, I'm thankful. And these are words that the important people in your life need to hear often, to know that they matter and that they are special to you. In fact, there are studies that show that when couples express gratitude to each other every day, they significantly increase the likelihood that they'll have a thriving, long-lasting relationship. And because of a lot of the time you spend together with someone close to you is about doing chores or taking care of the business of running a household or a family or a group of friends or an organization together, it's important you express gratitude about these common chores. For example, if your partner has decided that they are the ones who are going to take the trash out or walk the dog or do the dishes, thank your partner for doing this. Even a simple, I'm so grateful you walked the dog, will do here. Also, if there's something a bit more out of the everyday that happens, take the time to thank your partner. For example, if you've had a stressful week and your partner did a few extra things to support you, like they took on one more night putting the kids to bed, or they packed lunch for you, or they went grocery shopping, or they got takeout, or they did the laundry, even if it wasn't perfect, even if it took longer for the kids to fall asleep, they forgot to add a fork in your lunch bag, they bought a different brand of pasta that you don't buy, or they didn't order the dish you usually get from the takeout place, or all the clothes came out of the wash pink, thank your partner for the beautiful intention they had to make your life a little easier. Yes, even if the outcome was not what you expected, thank your partner anyway. Number 4, express your love out loud by saying, I love you with sincerity. It may sound simple, yet so many people believe that they don't have to tell the person they love that they love them because the other person already knows. In my work with couples, I hear a lot about how much it does to the relationship when people start hearing a sincere, not an automatic, quick, I love you, but a sincere, I love you more frequently. Number 5, tell them you know them well. In addition to saying the words, I love you, you can also express your love out loud by telling that special person you know them well. I am sure, or at least I hope, that just like that wonderful person does great things for you, you also do lovely things for them because you know them, because they're special to you, and because you love them. So maybe when you go get coffee, you get your partner the kind of coffee they like. When you give it to your partner, tell them that. You could say something like, I got you this latte with almond milk because I know you love it and I love you. Or maybe you say something like, this weekend, I'm going to be in charge of cleaning the bathroom because you've been working so hard and I know cleaning the bathroom is not something you enjoy doing. So that's my little gift of love for you. Or maybe you say something like, I made a vegetarian dinner tonight because I heard you tell our friends the other day that you want to eat less meat, and I want to support you in what's important for you because I love you. So, yes, lots of opportunities to express your love out loud. And if you think it's cheesy, well, get over it. And last but not least, number 6. If you'd like to have a loving conversation as you celebrate Valentine's Day or bring love to the forefront of your relationship, then express the values that your partner or that special person helps you fulfill in your life. The way you can think about this is by asking yourself, what does this person bring to my life? Is it connection, companionship, love, care, optimism, laughter, authenticity? Or is it well-being, honesty, creativity, acceptance, stability, or maybe beauty, calmness, pleasure, integrity, understanding. Once you can think of at least 3 values that this special person brings to your life, then spend part of your celebration talking about the values they bring and how they do it. For example, you could say, "You bring so much joy into my life, especially when I wake up in the morning and you tell me you love me, when you always answer my calls, even if you have a busy day, when you sneak in little messages in my bag and I discover them later when I'm at work. I love how much joy you bring into my life." So there you have it. Now you have 6 things you can include in your communication right away to celebrate the love and connection you have with that special someone and bring love to the forefront of your relationship. Now, all I shared here, if you're going to use it as a communication technique to get more love from your partner or that other person who's special to you, then you are having an agenda with your communication and it will not be received as a sincere expression because it's not going to be sincere. So before you communicate any of these things I suggested, feel the love in your heart first, and then let the words flow with sincerity and authenticity. And want to do one more loving act? Think about 2 or 3 people who would benefit from having the kind of well-being that comes from loving relationships and share this episode with them. All you need to do is share the episode and tell them how the Language Alchemy podcast is contributing to your life and your relationships. And now let's recap what you've heard in this episode. In this episode, I shared with you 6 things you can include in your communication when you want to put love at the forefront of a relationship. These 6 things are: number 1, communicate positive acknowledgement. Number 2, use unique terms of endearment. Number 3, express gratitude often. Number 4, say I love you and mean it. Number 5, tell the person you love you know them well. And number 6, communicate the values that that significant person brings to your life. Thank you so much for listening, and a special thanks to all the wonderful couples I've worked with over the years and who are currently working with me to bring love to the forefront of their relationships. This week, I'm giving a shout out to Claire and Gil, who worked with me a couple of years ago. Claire told me last week, "Alejandra, we have a rock solid marriage now that we have learned to communicate our love to each other." Oh, that just melted my heart. Until next week. Oh, and remember, if you haven't already, leave me a 5-star rating and a couple of sentences review on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you're listening to this episode. And as we say in Argentina, ciao ciao. Original music by Gary Lapo. You can find all links in the show notes at languagealchemy.com.